Have you ever said, you know what, I don't care what anyone thinks about me. I don't really care what they say. I don't really care what they think. That's great, but then 2 minutes later, we're checking our Instagram stories and seeing who liked our story and who didn't. We like the idea of not caring if anyone thinks about us. We'd like not caring what anyone says, but it's kind of hard to live out. As much as we say, I don't care what anyone says, I don't care if they think about me, I don't care, we kind of do, and our life shows that. So how do we deal with that? If we really want to say, you know what, I don't care what anyone thinks about me, I just want to live my life, how do we get to that? Let's talk about it. We like to think we're free from what other people say about us. We like to think we're free from the thoughts people have. We like to think we're free from, looking for validation from other people. But if we're being very, very honest, a lot of us would say, as much as we want that to be the case, it's not. Because we still care what people say. We still care about how many people liked our story. We still care about how many followers we have. We still care about a lot of that stuff. And it's kind of difficult because we don't want to care about it, but we do. And so it's worth discussing. We say we're free, but we're still checking every 5 minutes. We say we're free, but we're still thinking about, what we could post that people would like. And I'm really convinced it's not insecurity. It's not about insecurity. It's actually about identity. Because yes, we're insecure, obviously, if we care about what other people think, but a lot of it comes from a sense of identity. If you don't know where your identity comes from. Because if you keep getting your identity, if you keep finding your identity in other people, if you keep looking for validation in other people, then no wonder you care what other people think. No wonder you care if people invite you or if they don't. If your identity is from what other people say about you, what other people think about you, if other people care about you or not, then it's no wonder that you feel like you need validation from someone else. If your identity is unstable, then it's from people being unstable. We say, I don't need anyone, and then we keep going right back to see what they think about us, keep going right back to see what they say about us. And that's never going to go away. As much as we say, I don't care what they think, as long as our identity is found in other people, then we're always going to struggle with that one. And I think the Bible's kind of getting at something here in Galatians 1:10 when Paul says, for am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Am I seeking the approval of man or am I seeking the approval of God? Because as long as I'm seeking the approval of man, that's going to be a problem. As long as I'm seeking the approval of man, I'm going to be stuck in that. So he's got two options here. You can't live for both. You gotta live for one or the other. At some point, you're gonna end up in a split and you gotta pick one. So the question is, who am I trying to impress? Who am I living for? As much as we say, you know what, I don't care what anyone thinks, I don't care what anyone says, we'll still find ourselves, doing certain things that show, you know what, we actually do care what people think. I know I've been there before where I'm like, you know what, I don't care what anyone thinks, I don't care what they say about me. And at the same time, I'm over here posting something because I'm pretty sure that so-and-so is gonna like it and hopefully they'll share it with someone else. I'll post things with someone specific in mind, think, oh, they'll probably like this is probably going to make me look good. And so I've been there. I know what it's like. I'm sure you know what it's like to feel like, you know what, I don't really care what anyone thinks about me, but still trying to impress people. But we got to pick one or the other here. Are we trying to please people or are we not? Because the difference is God's love isn't performance based. God really doesn't love you any more, any less, depending on how many followers you have, how many people watch your content, how many friends you have, how many parties you get invited to. God doesn't care about any of that. And if we get our validation from how many people invite us to their birthday parties, if we get invited to how many people invite us to come hang over at their house, if we get our validation from how many people like our content, then obviously we're still going to struggle with that. We're still going to feel like we're not enough. We're still going to feel like we need to do more. We're still going to feel like I'm still dependent on other people even if we don't want to be. But God's love isn't performance based. When you're rooted in that, people's opinions, they lose their power. When you really understand that Jesus lived, died, rose again for you, that he conquered hell, death, and the grave, because he loved you and because that you have inherent value because God loves you and he created you with a purpose and he created you with a plan. When you really understand that, then everyone else's opinions, what they think, what they said, that doesn't matter anymore because you understand that you have inherent value. You understand that your life matters not because someone invited you to something or because someone mentioned you in their story, but because your value comes from something way bigger than that. So let's break that down real quick. If our validation comes from other people, if we're looking to other people to validate what we do, if we're looking to other people to validate what we say, if we're looking at our value based on how many friends we have, who we hang out with, then no wonder we can't get past trying to please other people. No wonder we can't get past trying to caring what other people think about us. If we really want to get past that, we have to understand that we can't go on living for people and living for God. We got to pick one or the other. We got to say, who are we living for? If I say I'm not living for what people care about say about me anymore, then that's great. But I gotta say, you know what? I do care about my value. I do care about feeling seen, and that comes from the love of God, knowing that he loves me, that he created me for a purpose, that Jesus lived, died, rose again, conquered hell, death, and the grave for me, and that gives me value. But the truth is, he did all of that for you. And when you understand that that's where your value comes from, and no amount of followers could give you that, no amount of likes could give you that, no amount of friends could give you that, then you're in a healthy place. And that's when you can truly say, you know what? I don't care what people say about me anymore. You can truly say, you know what? I don't care what they think about me anymore. So, approval of man, approval of God. What you gonna pick? You gotta pick one. If you're living for man, you're always gonna feel that one. You'll never be able to escape it, as much as you say, I don't care. And it could come from a lot of different places. Maybe your parents never told you they loved you, or never told you they were proud of you unless you did really well. Maybe you always tried to feel accepted somewhere, felt like you were, I don't know, never really fit anywhere. You're always trying to find the approval of a certain friend group, and you never really felt like you belonged anywhere. If any of that happened to us, then I'm not surprised, that we look to other people for validation, that we look to other people to make us feel good, but we have to understand that's not where our value comes from. I really hope this has helped you somehow. If it has, make sure you go ahead, like, subscribe, follow, do whatever you can on the platform you're listening on. I really do hope that this would encourage you to stop focusing on, what other people say about you, what other people think about you, but to realize that's not where your value comes from. If you think this could help a friend, make sure that you go ahead and share it with them, because a lot of people struggle with this. If you got a friend who needs to hear this, send it to them. I'm sure it would be really helpful for them. I love getting to talk about this stuff with you. I love talking about stuff that's on our heart, things that we're constantly thinking about. Yeah, I never know how to end these things. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, send this to a friend, like, subscribe, follow, the whole thing. This has been a good talk. I like it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.